Hello, everybody, and welcome to our home. We're the Kramer family, and today we want to tell a little bit of our story. When I think about this, the first thing that comes to mind is, I think the obvious, which is clearly real estate has completely changed our family. Our financial future will never, ever be the same because of it. We all own real estate together. We're in business together, and that's sort of like an understood. But I think what I'm most proud of is how we've been able to come together as a family. You know, without this business, we wouldn't all be working full-time building this business together. So I want to give credit to, a successful business that's due. But again, what I'm most proud of is coming together. And I think the way that has happened has been through a variety of challenges and circumstances that have not always been easy. But somehow we've been able to stay together, and that's something I'm most proud of. So when again, thinking about those challenges, it's mostly internal. It's mostly the things that we all fight as human beings that we've struggled with, and to overcome those together has been pretty cool. So the things like the self-talk that we give ourselves, that we're not good enough, we're not capable. Can we do this? And to be able to work through that together and figure that out. And then when you feel that feeling of like I'm inadequate, we tend to withdraw or decide we want to go do our own thing, or can we please our parents, right? And that can be a challenge. And for us to be able to lean into working together versus that natural tendency we all have to do our own thing is something we're working on, and I'm still super proud of. And I'd say the third thing is really I'd say the biggest block to most people, which is not doing things, not taking action. And I couldn't be more proud of how all of us have come together and as doers and have made tremendous progress in a very short period of time. All the things that we've accomplished, all the things we've accumulated together is nothing short of incredible. And so I think that's sort of the most important part about our story is not the real estate piece and the building the business. That's cool. And it's caused us again to be able to enjoy this together. But most importantly, how we've worked together as people and how our relationships have gotten stronger as people. I don't know what you guys think, but when I say I feel safe to be me, like I don't have to be the fount of all knowledge. I can just be a data point, not the data point, right? I'm not I'm the dad or the husband, I'm not the answer. And to have you guys have a voice is something I'm really thankful for. Does that resonate with you guys? Do you guys feel that same thing?
Yeah, being authentic with each other and with ourselves is really huge that we're able to do that. I think that something that sticks with me is that self-talk of like, we're all human, so it's, usually it's a negative, self-talk, but just being able to talk through things with each other is huge. I don't think any of us could do it alone.
What's crazy is that a lot of times the people we love the most are the ones we hide from the most. And so it is really special to be able to do that with people we love.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
That's right.
Yeah, I think this place, outside of our family, it's tough to go and talk to somebody that understands what we're doing, what we're building. So having a connection so close, a sister, brother, dad, that not only understand, what I want, but also are in full support of getting there is really special. So
I think it's important, before I forget, to introduce you guys. This is Luke, my oldest son. He's the head of our acquisitions and is here to guide anybody looking for help on buying properties. And he's purchased close to 400 units, and he's 23 years old and has built his own portfolio and is quite impressive. And I'll let you tell more of that later. This is my beautiful wife, Lucy.
Hello.
She's the head of our finances,
Yep.
She gives me a weekly allowance to make sure I have money to buy the things that I want to buy. And she's really the rock, the glue that holds us all together. She's, when things are rough, she's that anchor that keeps us all together. This is my son, Paul. He is the head of our rehab, the head of renovations. Thank you. And he has been with us for 3 years now.
Yeah.
And has, I don't know how many projects you've managed and overseen, dozens.
Over 100.
Over 100.
Yeah.
And that's really, he's kind of a special case in my heart because I'm a licensed contractor. And my first entrance into this business was through fixing properties, working with my hands. And it's something I really enjoy. And to watch you do that has been something that's been really cool. And then my daughter, Elaine, my oldest daughter, she is the head of leasing. Her husband is our property manager, Ben. And between the two of them, they are amazing at tenant care, amazing at caring for people beyond just the basic needs of collecting rent and doing maintenance, but to really make sure that we're getting high quality people that align with who we are and give them a clean, safe, comfortable place to live. These guys have been great. So with that, any other thought? Let's go back then to the conversation we were just having about this feeling of, the isolation or the self-talk or the challenges of inactivity, right? And how we've been able to overcome that together. Because that's a deeply personal thing for all of us.
I think something that I go back to is to tell myself is, I'm not alone in this. And then also just if I feel uncomfortable, or something doesn't sit well with myself, I think it's just God telling me you're meant for more.
I love that. Instead of believing that lie of I'm not enough, it's God saying you are meant for more and you can do it. To have an environment like this.
Just redirecting, my internal narrative, just being aware of that is huge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this business is hard, and that's why I think our North Star, our why, is so important, because we have had, properties where ceiling falls down on the floor and all the plumbing, lines burst. So, having a North Star, why are we doing it? And, what is it for? Having a true purpose, because, we get the benefit to work with each other, but it's also, we all have our own goals and our own dreams, and we've talked about that. But why do we do it, and why do we do it together? I think that's the glue that holds it, because there have been moments where it's like, this is a tough business to be in. It's not easy. We have had struggles. All of us have. So
I do want to ask a question about one of the things we talk about a lot, which is that we make a commitment first, then we act in courage, right? Like most people will say, I'm not going to move. I'm not going to act until I'm confident. I'm not going to act until I know that this is a good bet. And we've kind of flipped that on its head and said, we're going to commit first and then live in this season of courage. Mm-hmm. Do you guys, Paul or Elaine in particular, I think I'd like you guys to answer that or address it if you can. An experience where you've had to live in courage.
Yeah. It was still in high school. So I'm battling, track, school, and then you came with me with the proposition to start with the car washes. I have, all these things going on. My priorities are not, working right now. Yeah. And so I had no idea really what to do. And I kind of just, took the step. I believed in you guys, and I knew you guys saw a vision for me. And how it wasn't just, do this because I need somebody to do it. It's do this because I believe there's something in you to then take you to the next step. And that's the biggest thing for me too. Is
was that hard for you to act in courage, or did you just rely on the faith and belief that we had in you?
I think it was more relying on the faith and belief that you guys had in me. I didn't know I could do it because like I said, I have all these things that I'm, trying to accomplish, trying to get into college for sports, or, just trying to finish the semester. And it's just another thing that I was like, I got to do this every day. Do I even have time to do it? Can I do it? Right. And you guys, it was just a day after day, and you guys stuck with me through it. So it was anything from, if I was out of town to collecting coins or washing bays or whatever it was. So it was more, believing in you guys that you guys believed in me. So,
Well, it really started from the accident where we're flipping a house, and I'm involved in this accident. I get injured. It completely changes my ability. Like I'm now blind in one eye because of it, and my hand skills. Well, I still know how to do everything. I have no depth perception, and so sawing something that's close to my hand is scary. I start to sweat. Getting on a ladder makes me crazy, and so I remember us having a conversation of we got to
Pivot.
we have to pivot.
Yeah, we have to pivot the business. And I think, at that point, we were doing more retail type work, and it was something that we thought we were scaling, and we did scale it to a degree that I don't think we had planned. We had over 400 subcontractors working for us, managing the back end stuff, the financials, and then that kind of fell through just because it was retail, and the corporate company that we're working with just decided to pivot their business. So, and then at that point, we were like, okay, here's another pivot. Continuing to push, continuing to move forward, and, telling ourselves like we can do this, and there's a reason why these things are happening. At that point, that's kind of when we decided to really focus on, the portfolio, the rentals, and so.
Well, you'd always said you wanted to own properties, and I didn't want to because I don't want to be a landlord.
Yeah, and I grew up with that.
Yeah, and your promise to me was I wouldn't have to be a landlord.
That's right.
That you would take care of it. And so you suckered me in with that. But what a blessing it's been since then.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
So it kind of, that was sort of the genesis of that. And then it took root, and we learned through some help from other mentors and people who've guided us along the way how to really build a business at scale. Like my background is franchising, and so systems and processes and scaling is something that is sort of in me. And so everything we've built has been, sort of built through that lens, right? And so we immediately scaled the business.
Yeah. And my background also kind of helped me, or it was a reason why I was interested in real estate, because I grew up with family who are entrepreneurs, but just didn't have the background that I was blessed with an education, that I was like, that's, just thinking about my dad who traded his car for his first house to get a house for his family. That really ignited something in me, and through my path of going to college and all of the things that I've done, that's really what fueled me. And as you can tell, and it means the world to me that I'm able to do what I'm doing for our family, for all of us. And it's such a blessing that that our families is on board and believes in us and what we're doing together, because this is not just, Mike and Lucy. This has been, and is a journey for all of us, whether family members are in the business with us or outside of it. That support is, something that's huge for us. It means so much.
So I remember we got to a certain point where we're like, we need help. And do you remember, did we go to Luke, or how did that all start?
Well, it didn't start off full time. I think while I was at school, you guys knew I didn't want to be at school. I think I knew that pretty quick when I was going to Lincoln. And the time there, I think, really just amplified that I wanted to work for myself and run a business. So I knew that I didn't know what it would be. And like you said, I think it was just God's timing that you guys were getting into a business that you needed help with, and I know I first started doing like driving for dollars and, calling cold leads and that good stuff. And I remember I was shaking, and trash out, shaking on my first call. But yeah, you guys wrote me in about 5 years ago in 2 weeks. Wow. So it's coming up. It's going by quick.
You get your, what is this 5-year anniversary gift? Yeah. So then it was after you loop in how Elaine got connected, because I think you're the one that brought her.
Yeah. So we had discussions about, purchasing property. I think all of us together, what we were doing. And there was a moment, you guys had bought a couple properties, you and Ben, through Neverdole Ventures with some properties on seller finance. And so you guys were getting into it. Well, I remember, we were driving one day to look at a property, and a gentleman called you that had money he was interested in lending to us. And, you said, hey, here's an opportunity for you guys. Here's money that you guys can go use and deploy to scale your business, using other people's money. And I remember we went out and we ate at Laszlo's, later that day and had a discussion and said, do we want to do it? It was a big decision for us. I think at that point I owned, maybe 3 properties myself. I think you guys owned 2. And we sat down and we're like, this is life-changing. How do we go about it? So I remember at Laszlo's, we made the decision to move forward with it. And we've owned properties together now for 4 years.
Yeah.
So
at the same time, I think, Elaine, you were working on the back end of the marketing as well. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah. I was doing a little bit of like working with VAs and stuff like that. Yeah.
You just unlocked the memory for me. Yeah, Elaine was, so we were doing, texting campaigns and mailing campaigns, and there was a VA that would go through everything, and Elaine would manage her, and yeah, you just unlocked some memories for me.
The good old days. So what was your perspective on that whole thing, Elaine? How did you feel about entering into that, and what was going through your head?
Yeah, I mean, I think like we had seen you guys acting in courage as far as a business that priorly, failed and was a big bummer. And we all, I think that's what we all thought was going to be like your guys' future. So I think that falling through and then you guys taking the plunge into real estate, I think we all saw that and we knew that, our dad doesn't jump into anything half-heartedly. He's all in with everything. Mm-hmm. So I think when we saw him jumping in and having success and stuff like that. And then, like Luke said, we had, some lenders that had seen and trusted my dad in the portfolio he's built and stuff like that, then say, hey, like, we trust you. We want to buy in more. I think that was a cool opportunity for us to, like he said, that call that we got, an opportunity to further invest and further our portfolio was huge. At that point, we were still, everything we acquired was managed under a separate property management company. And that was, we had nothing in the day-to-day except for a little bit of marketing for me and then building our portfolio. So at that point we were just, trying to grow our portfolio, and we knew the impact that like it could have on our, future generations potentially. So that's kind of, why we took the plunge at first with the real estate. Ben and I were both still working W-2 jobs. So we were, at that point, we were thinking, hey, maybe like a few rentals, a few extra $100s a month would, be nice. Yeah. So that's kind of, we took the plunge and we've never looked back.
Yeah. Well, I think you and Ben, out of all of us, I've never said this out loud before, but probably acted more courage at that time than any of, besides Dad and Lucy, anyone else that's gotten into the business, because you did, I came out of college, I didn't have anything to lose, just figuring out, you had a stable job, so did Ben, family on the way. So I think
income we could count on every month, like things that when you're your own boss and work for your own business, that those things aren't guaranteed.
How hard was that for you guys? What was that discussion at night in bed or wherever you guys talk? I don't know where you talk, but what was that like between you and Ben?
I mean, I think Ben's probably even more hesitant than I was as far as like, you know, he's always grown up with parents that are budgeters. They're both W-2 workers that make a good living, but like
they're not big risk takers, right?
Yeah,
like,
that's right. Yeah, they're not big risk takers.
Betting on themselves and it's not a criticism. It's when you have a good job that gets comfortable and you want to protect it.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the track Ben and I were on before that. I mean, I'm a nurse by trade, and so I was working as a nurse, and Ben was in insurance, and so we were both making good livings as well. And I think it was kind of like, what's the point of taking a risk when we're doing fine now? Right. But I think, you know, you look at growing your family and doing stuff like that, it's like you want to be more present for your family, and you want to be, you know, Ben wants to be at the things with our kids and be at their activities and stuff like that. That isn't always a reality if you're working an 8-to-5 job.
Mm-hmm. How was that conversation to say we're going to go in? Because that's really, I think, where so many people struggle is they can relate to what you're saying, and there's that security in it. But what was that moment in your mind where you said, okay, we're going to do this? And was that a hard thing, or was that just like...
Yeah, I mean, I think at first, like, Ben and I are both we're both firstborns. I mean, we both don't like to take risks naturally. So I think at first it was like, we'll do this if it's a home run. Like, every deal we wanted to be in, we were like, if it's really good, then okay, we'll take the plunge. And I think we had a couple of deals at the beginning that were really good. And after that, we kind of grew our faith and, okay, like maybe we could take a bigger risk knowing that it'll pay off. But yeah, it wasn't an easy decision. I mean, even still today, there's still times where we're back and forth. One of us is more in, and now Ben's more in than I am a lot of times. And I have to say, you need to pump the brakes. But yeah, it was a hard decision to leave the comfort and leave what we knew for, you know.
How long has it been since you guys both quit your jobs and now work full time?
Since 2022, I think.
So going on 3 years.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Awesome.
And I think Ben might have been a little bit earlier than that, but. Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious, I know I'm picking on you, but what is you and Ben's, North Star, your why with that? Because I think the commitment to do it, obviously have to have a reason to leave a stable job that you go home with no headaches. There's trade-offs.
Yeah.
Now you're your own boss, but you get to do it, when things need to get done. So we're producers. What was that for you and Ben that drove you guys to say, this is something we want to get into, and this is, why it would be worth it down the road versus, making, 6 figures together, in a stable job.
Yeah. I mean, I think, when we were working our W-2 jobs, I think we were comfortable and but we weren't we knew that we weren't building anything, there was nothing that we were if we die now, what's there for our kids? I mean, there wasn't anything. So, I mean, yeah, we had a stable bank account and stuff like that. But as far as leaving a legacy and, leaving generational wealth, I think what we all strive for and what we all are working for, I think changing, you've talked about how you grew up and changing, from that point to now is, we all want to leave something for the people that are left when we're not here.
Yeah. I think about that too with the boys.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Luke's promised to buy Graham for sure his first car. So we'll see.
I bet it's a Chevy Cobalt.
Now he's going on his 5th niece or nephew. So see, he's got
a lot of cars. And buy another car right there.
Yeah. No, they definitely become part of my why too, so it makes it fun.
So one of the ideas that Lucy and I dreamed up, which is mostly her fault, is that we wanted to have an opportunity for everybody to buy properties, right? So we had this machine built that was producing, 40 or 50 purchases a year, and it was great. But we're like, well, how do we share this? So Lucy came up. She's a spreadsheet nerd.
Yes.
Came up
A
with
rotation system using a spreadsheet, formulas and all that to see whose turn it was.
So whenever we get a property under contract, the process was to next one on the list, right?
Yeah. They either take it or they pass.
If they pass the next one, and then you just get back in rotation. So we had this package of 12, I think it was, properties.
Yeah.
And Paul, I want you to talk about, what that was like for you, because I think that was your first experience.
That was my first chance at even little taste. I didn't do a whole lot, within the real estate space. It was mostly just head down, car washes, school, whatever it was, and car washes through the summer as well. And slowly after the summer, I started to get more into, project management. When you came to me and said, hey, I'm getting too busy with this. I need to focus on other things. You've got the gift for it. I'm going to teach you this, and this is what you're going to be doing. So I started with that, and just rehab, no acquisitions, no leasing, haven't even really walked a property, besides renovations. And so I was basically clueless on what we were doing. All I knew was, 12 properties. I've got a chance to buy 2, and I was stoked about it. It's my first, real opportunity to
Get in the game.
buy a house. Yeah, I got some skin in the game here. In that first 8 months or whatever, just working at the car washes, I enjoyed it, but you're always looking for something more. Picking up coins wasn't enough for me. So
you got your muscles bigger.
being able to just learn from these guys too, it was really cool to see everyone come together. I remember, we're all sitting at DRI, big old table. There's, 14 of us or however many we're signing, and we're all signing documents together. Both getting I'm getting my first 2. Luke's getting his, however many, they're getting some. It's a big family moment, and I think that's going to stick with me for, hundreds of years, or until I die at least, because
Hundreds of years. Those are some of my favorite closings, is when we all get to do it together, and I don't think the title company loves it too much. We gotta do it. Where's the paperwork?
But no, it was really cool because, I had no idea. I didn't know, the caps. I didn't know we were purchasing for. I didn't know anything. And so it was basically from square one to you're jumping right into it. And not necessarily you're going to figure it out on your own, but we're here to support you. I think that was the biggest thing too, is I wanted to jump into it. I had confidence in myself to do it, but I had no idea what I was going to do. I didn't know how are we going to rent it? Who's going to rehab it? Am I going to be the one rehabbing it, or someone else, So it was cool to see that. And
You don't lack courage. You're not one that is short on action.
Right.
Some of us are short on action, and others are short on internal narrative or right. We all have our monsters that we have to fight.
yeah, so it was from really 0 to 60 or 0 to 100 within, a signature of a pen. So, and that was the toughest, part for me, is those houses caused so many headaches for me. It was one of them we finished and took, a year to sell. And so that was a huge learning opportunity too.
It didn't work out the way we hoped.
No,
did it?
No, every step was a learning opportunity. I did my rehab on the house and shot a nail through my finger, stuff like that.
We got to stay away from nail guns.
Like stuff like that is, you never would expect it. And if you would think about it, you would say, I have no idea what to do. What do I do?
And we'd probably
go to
feel paralyzed, right? Like, I don't know what to do, so I'm just not going to do anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And yet to watch you continue to take step after step, encourage, faith.
Well, like if I don't know what to do, I can't, to Luke's point, like you can't go to your friend and say, oh, I'm, rehabbing a house. I have no idea what to do. It's cool to come to my brother, come to my dad and say, hey, how am I doing this? Am I doing it right? And it's instant feedback, and it's real criticism. It's real knowledge that I get.
Well, to have a trusted place to go for guidance.
Yeah.
We all need it.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that although you're a person of action and would probably take a lot of those risks without knowing for sure, like having us as here to guide and support it's been
a blessing. Yeah.
When you see something that from somebody like and trust, and you say, I want to be like that person, and you see them doing something, there's a ton of confidence in following their footsteps, right? And the power in that is, it can't be overstated. Zig Ziglar, which one of my favorite books, See at the Top, I read when I was 19, has a quote. He says, if you want to be successful, do what other successful people do. Mm-hmm. And I remember thinking, it's that simple, right? And the reality is it is.
Yeah, it really is that simple.
You find somebody that you want to be like, and then you copy what they do. You imitate them. And I think that's where we kind of had a light bulb moment and said, we're helping our family. We've seen our own personal growth in terms of not just financial, but we're better communicators. I'm a better husband, a better dad, I think. I'll let you guys. But I feel like I'm becoming the best version of myself in this environment. And then we bring on some other people to help, some other family, what we call family of affinity, that are partners with us and have been with us for some time. And then it sort of snowballed into, well, how do we impact and help more people? Right? How do we, and you got to be careful the questions you ask yourself, because our brains are like a computer, right? It doesn't have a choice. It answers the questions you ask it. And so when we asked the question, how do we help more people? It became really apparent really fast that we needed to do something. And we threw around the idea of a meetup, like a different kind of meetup that welcomed families. And we quickly realized that was going to be too small. And we didn't want to cannibalize or take away from the other meetups that were here in town. And so we decided to launch a community. And it's a community that is built around these premises of helping other people, modeling ourselves how to do it. Not just the technical work of buying a house or renovating a house or leasing and managing or doing the accounting, but overcoming those personal barriers we all feel, right? Most of what we've been talking about has been, the fear of, or the concern of, or the mystery of how this all works. And so, our intention now is to take what we've learned as a family and to just expose it to everyone, allow everyone to see and benefit, not just, again, from the technical, the tactics of buying and selling and building a business, but how to level yourself up as a human.
Yeah.
How to fight that monster of, internal narrative that's negative and not believing that you can do it, or the internal narrative of inaction. Mm-hmm. I'm not good enough, so I'm not, or not the internal narrative, but the monster of inaction. Or worse, I think, of all is this isolation, where we think we have to do it on our own, or nobody cares, or nobody's going to help. And we want to tear that down completely, help people level up as humans, and if we can do it as families, all the better.
That's right. This
is great to have an amazing portfolio and to have all of this financial freedom and ability to impact generations. But the thing I'm most proud of is who we're becoming as a family. Mm-hmm. And to give that blessing to other families would be enormous.
So one of the things that, I always said early on, I think while I was considering, going another path, or, hey, I can start this on my own because I want to go and, act on how I feel. One of the things you said was, if you want to go fast, you go alone. And if you want to go far, you go together. And I think that's something that we have here, as we all, together there's synergy and we can go far, and a lot quicker than I would be doing it alone. So a lot of people I know are reaching out, trying to get in this space. What kind of, advice or, provision would you give them as they're getting into it? I'm curious, Paul and Dad and Lucy, for people that want to go far, how do they do it? Can they do it alone? Expand on that a little bit.
Some people need to go alone because they have a rugged individualism and a real strong drive that they're needing to go explore that for themselves. Mm-hmm. And I think as humans, seeing, we always ask ourselves, what are we capable of, right? And it's hard to really test that unless you're putting yourself on the line. You can in a team, like I think about sports, you can in a team sport to play your role, but think about golf or tennis or, any of these sports where it's an individual effort. Yeah. The spotlight's on one person, and some people have to go into that and experience it.
It just depends on what their why is.
It is, and in proving to themselves what they're made of, right? I think it's not a binary, this is right and that's wrong. Yeah. I think what I've learned is that in order for me to truly have a lasting impact, if I do it alone, then all the people I love are going to be, yes, cheering me on and yes, supporting, but not to the extent if I do it with them. Mm-hmm. Because now they're invested. Now their success is my success. Yeah. And, I've been fortunate to be on teams that have won, state championships in high school, and some of my best memories, because it's not about what I did in the game, it's about what we accomplished together. And I think that's really the power of going together. And I think the majority of us need that, and it's sort of a God-shaped hole where we're all designed for community and connection. And while people do go on this journey of rugged individualism to prove to themselves, eventually that ends up being empty because we're designed for the community. We're designed for support. Mm-hmm. And so, my advice would be to follow your heart. And if you feel that the need to adventure, go do it. Don't be tied down by a community that's, not serving you. But eventually, I would bet you'll come back because you're going to realize that, yeah, it's great to go fast and to accomplish a lot of stuff, but it's more empty. It's not as rewarding. What's the point of having all if you don't have it to share with anybody?
Right.
Yeah. Well, I think that you touched on a point. I think, when I wanted to go off on my own is I want to prove something to myself. I can do it. I can grow it. I don't need these other people, my family. Yeah, you guys are slowing me down. Yeah. But I think that came full circle, and I've actually proved more to myself, with you guys and with the other people we work with, and people that I've met once, prove more to myself in those situations, acting in courage with you guys than I probably would alone. So I think having the support system and the people here has provided me a ton more value than if I did it alone, at least on the learning side. And, now I have people to help get things done. I can't do everything myself. So I think that just underscores the importance of, our community, what we're building within the community, having a support system. We've touched on that a lot. Break down a little bit about, our community, what the purpose of it is, our why. We talked about our why. Why do we do what we do? What is the purpose of this community? And, why did we think it was a good fit for what we're doing? And
yeah, to me, it's two things. One, and primarily is to, slay the monster that we've been talking about. The internal narrative, the isolation, and this indecision, this inaction that people have and get stuck in. And I think if we can become better people because we've got a support system and we've got other people acting in courage around us that we can look at and say, hey, he's doing it, I can do it. I don't care what they do with real estate. I don't care if they buy one house, they buy 1,000, or just invest in property passively. It doesn't matter to me. What matters is that they become a better version of themselves. Mm-hmm. Maybe just makes them a better insurance guy. Great. We need you in the community because you can help others with insurance who are all thinking the same way. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's a financial guy. It doesn't matter what they're doing, right? The second thing I think is, which is deeply personal to our origin story, specifically Lucy and I's, which is that, I'm one of 10 kids and grew up, when my dad died, my mom didn't have $600 to pay the backhoe operator to dig his grave. And to see the look on her face, that imprinted on me a promise that I made to myself. It'll never happen to anyone in my family again. Mm-hmm. So the financial reward of building a real estate portfolio, my great-great-grandkids that I don't even know yet will have a benefit from what we've built. Mm-hmm. And with Lucy being the daughter of immigrants, and, she shared some of her dad's story, how impactful it is for her to be able to leave a legacy for her family and her nieces and nephews and whoever else, we want to. That's a big deal.
It is.
It's a big deal. So it's both and. It's leveling yourself up personally first and helping you be the best version of yourself no matter what your chosen vocation is. Mm-hmm. And secondly, if you choose real estate, we're all in to help because we've seen the impact ourselves.
Yeah,
the power of that.
Taking care of yourself personally first allows you to be able to give more wholeheartedly to others. So, I think that's huge, to be able to continue to grow together in community, and be able to help others.
So it sounds like, empowering people is really the number one thing, whether it's real estate or, you have a job in construction and you want to go and do something on the side and you want to learn how a bank works. How are we going to empower, people through this community? What are the things that we're going to do? Because it's easy to talk about it. I think the benefit is in the action. And, for our community members, if they don't go and take action, they're not going to learn anything. If we don't, we're not going to provide any value. So what are some of those things that we're going to be doing within that community to empower them, like our intent?
You're like your brother. You guys don't lack doer mindset. Like, what are we going to do? Let's go. Which I love that about you guys. I think there's a couple of key things. One is, first of all, the connection and the support that you have. So getting together with people who are on the same journey, I think that's a huge piece of it. Education, actually providing the people in the community with things that we've tried and that we know are true. The things that we know, and by the way, we're not going to have all the answers to all the things.
Right.
And that leads kind of to the third thing, which is to bring other experts in who are really good at the things that we don't know how to do to the community to serve the greater good. And so we see it as, I'm not the fount of all knowledge. Lucy's not.
Right.
We each have our own little narrow thing. You're going to be able to talk about construction like very few 20-year-olds can, or, most 50-year-olds can't. And that can serve the community. But outside of our little area of expertise, we have to build this team, this community of people around us that have that expertise, that can come in and serve that community the same ways to level us all up, no matter what the question is.
Yeah, they have to have the heart to provide and, empower like we do. I think that's the cool thing about, what we're doing is I might teach, 10% of the classes and, I'm in a niche of acquisitions for multifamily and single family. That's what I've done. I know that. But, somebody wants to learn about, buying a franchise or, becoming a loan officer.
Creating a trust, passing on to your future generations, doing renovations, how to do a proper lease. I mean, the things that we can help with are enormous.
It's meeting them where they're at, and
That's right.
just going from there, understanding their why, their purpose.
Yeah, everybody's is different. So
If people are aspiring to be better, they want to be part of a community, and they're willing to give back, this is the place for them. Doing it with us, with their families, would be, my ultimate goal is to not do it alone. Do it with your family if you can. That would be huge. And I think that would be, if we're able to accomplish that, we will meet the mandate that I feel like has been put on all of us to help as many people as possible. So if you're interested in learning more about how to join us in this community, or if what we've said has resonated with you and you're looking for a place to belong, please scroll through the website. You can either book a call with us, join our free community, or you'll find a link below in the description. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks.